Our topic for today is how global powers are reacting to AI's risks, and more importantly, what are the 10 commandments of AI that are being proposed by the Australian government? Imagine a world where AI is so advanced that you're no longer looking for information about a certain subject or a keyword. Rather, you're looking for an advice from a scientist who specializes in functions like chemistry, biology, economics, or even military strategies. Your prompts or requests are not limited to visual or textual answers. Rather, your commands conclude when AI performs a certain tangible action. That sounds like Genie and Aladdin. However, there's a catch. In a recent interview featuring ex CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, who, while discussing AI capability, claimed when the time arrives when we see AI starting to do their own thing, that's when we unplug them. Isn't AI hallucination an example of they doing their own thing? Well, I'm no expert here, but just like in Aladdin, we don't want this lamb to reach anywhere close to Jaffar. Hopefully, it will not come to that due to a global realization that current regulatory systems are not adequate enough to contain AI's unique risks. Hence, guardrails are being proposed to be applied all across AI supply chain. To make it simple, currently there are three directions towards regulating AI. United States seems to have the most decentralized approach towards implementing AI's risks. An executive order has been passed by President Biden for safe, secure, and trustworthy development and use of artificial intelligence. US direction seems to be the most risky. However, the objective here is to maximize innovation and welfare. European Union has the strongest stance towards implementing regulations to safeguard individuals against AI's risks, which is not to the fancy of futurists. They have introduced aiACT, AI liability directives, and also have more elaborately defined AI's risk categories. China, amongst all, has the most detailed and rules-based approach towards containing AI's risks, focusing to uphold socialist aspects like respecting social morality and public order, not allowing subversion to state power, or undermining national unity. Commonality amongst all three directions is a commitment towards a risk-based AI safety standard, along with introducing an advisory board and building an AI regulatory sandbox. Canada, Australia, and Singapore's approach kind of stems out from the overall three approaches we've just discussed. Let's focus on Australia, its direction and stance towards containing AI's risks. Australia has no overarching or specific legislations that deal with the use of or market surrounding AI. It is governed by existing legislation, for example, consumer, anti-discrimination, competition, copyrights, and data and privacy laws. The government encourages use of voluntary ethical frameworks such as 2019 Australian AI Ethics Framework or AI Assurance Framework in March 2022. However, it is in September this year that Australian Government of Industry, Science and Resources has published a proposal of 10 guardrails towards safe and responsible AI, which some are referring to as 10 Commandments of AI. What the first commandment essentially means is that it is the organization that will be held responsible on accounts such as the kind of governance policies being employed. Have the roles been clearly defined all across AI supply chain and its stakeholders? And whether there is public transparency across aspects such as regulatory, data and risk management, staff responsibilities, and trainings. The second commandment again focuses on organizations. They must implement high risk management processes for high risk AI systems to eliminate or reduce foreseeable risks. One way of doing this is by utilizing standards such as ISO 42001 and ISO 23894. Developers and deployers must monitor and assess risks of all use cases and create a ring of authenticity through feedback loops, ongoing testing, human oversight, and transparency across AI lifecycle. To better understand the third commandment, we need to dissect what provenance actually is. And what is C2PA? Provenance essentially empowers content creators and editors by disclosing information about how an asset was created, what was changed, and how was it changed. C2PA is a joint development project formed through an alliance between Adobe, ARM, Microsoft, Intel, and TruePic. C2PA uses cryptographic techniques to securely bind provenance data to digital assets, ensuring that any alterations are detectable. This helps maintain the integrity and trustworthiness of the content. The C2PA addresses the prevalence of misleading information online through the development of technical standards for certifying the sources and history, that is, the provenance of media content. Coming on to our fourth commandment, organizations must test and evaluate AI models before they get released in the market. Their performance must need to be continuously monitored as well. For example, developers of a facial recognition system would be required to test the accuracy of an AI model for different social groups who may interact with AI system to gauge the potential for discriminatory impact. Organizations must ensure human oversight of high risk AI systems to understand, monitor, and intervene when necessary. While AI automates tasks, human review is crucial for mitigating risks and reversing decisions if needed. Oversight requires qualified individuals who can interpret AI outputs and understand the system's capability and limitations. The sixth commandment revolves around organizations that they must clearly inform users about AI's usage and its impact. This includes notifying users when AI is used to make decisions that impact them, when they are interacting with an AI, and ensuring the AI generated output is identifiable. These transparency measures align with EU's AI Act, which aims to bring public trust and accountability in AI systems. Methods to identify AI generated content through labeling and watermarking are still in their developing stage. The Coalition for Content Provenance, C2PA, has created standards and a technology called content credentials to help identify AI use in digital content. Think of this as looking at the ingredient list prior to buying a sandwich from a supermarket. That ingredient list is pretty much what content credentials are all about. Setting up organization wide processes that allow people to contest AI's decisions or to make complaints is what Seventh Commandment is all about. This includes internal complaint handling, human oversight, and providing information for effective contestability. These measures address potential AI biases and link to existing legal rights under Australian consumer and administrative law. Under the eighth commandment, organizations must share information about high risk AI systems with all involved parties in order to help create transparency and to mitigate risks. This includes details on system characteristics, data sources, design decisions, and potential risks. Developers must inform deployers on usage and output, while deployers must report issues back to developers. The ninth commandment highlights that organizations must maintain documentations of high-risk AI systems, including technical documentations, all throughout their life cycle. These records should be available to authorities upon request in order for them to conduct conformity assessments. This ensures accountability and enables external scrutiny. The last commandment expects the organizations to conduct conformity assessment before releasing the high-risk AI system into the market. They will need to periodically repeat the assessment to ensure continued compliance, meaning if the deployer retrains the system or the system goes through significant changes, the organization will be required to conduct a new conformity assessment. With that, we come to a close of all 10 commandments. Clearly, there is a lot of expectations being placed on the organization, the deployers, and developers. But the million-dollar question now is, how are we going to implement these 10 commandments? For that, we have three approaches. One, which is more domain-specific approach, meaning looking at certain industries differently compared to others. Second, being the framework approach, which Australia and Canada are already utilizing. The third being the whole of economy approach, meaning we want to impose all these set of commandments to the entire end-to-end economy. In my opinion, Australia should opt for a whole of economy approach. Let me know what do you think in the comment section below. Do you agree with me, or do you think Australia should continue with the framework approach they already have in place? This brings our today's episode to an end. Thank you for watching.